Hey friends, thank you for visiting with me today. I have got 5 super easy and cute spring crafts we're going to be doing today. Now let's get crafting. This DIY is a little more complicated, but it's really simple still at the same time. So we're going to use one of these wood rounds, some of these lavender flower pieces from the Dollar Tree, and some white burlap. I'm going to start by just popping out that twine, but after I popped it out, I realized I didn't really need to do that. I could have just left it in. I could have just popped out one side because we're going to add beads to it. But we're basically going to do a wood wash on this. I just took some brown and black paint with some water, went over it to make it a darker stained looking wood so you can see more of that grain and texture. It's still a little bit damp here, so you're still seeing it kind of darker, but as it goes on, it dries more. Now I'm going to put back on that twine. And this is why I was saying I didn't really need to take it off, but whenever I'm painting things, I always take things apart. It's just kind of a habit I have. So I'm going to go ahead and just pop on some wood beads, and I love the raw beads with the new stain. I feel like it adds some of that contrast to it, and it also gives it that farmhouse feel. So now I'm going to take that white burlap, and I'm going to just trace a line around it with the circle wood round being on here. And then I'm going to just cut that out real simple. It's not going to be the most perfect fit because we're going to need to trim it down in a second, but you can see that I'm putting on 2 layers. Burlap can be kind of see-through, so I always like to double it up when I'm crafting with it. It's just my own personal preference. You don't have to do that. You do what feels best for you. You don't even have to use burlap. You can use something else like a drop cloth that could be really pretty, or an old sheet that you have that you want to use to save even more money. Just cut that up too. I've used sheets in the past too on projects too. So now I'm going to just fold that over to kind of give it that gunny sack look. I love that look. It kind of has like a farmer's market look at this point. Now I'm going to trim off the edges so it keeps it nice and clean. Again, store-bought looking projects always have the back sides finished, so always keep that in mind when you're crafting. Then for my florals, I'm just going to cut them off of the stems. I never like using the stems. I like to cut them individually so that you can place them on their own and make them look more of a wildflower arrangement versus it being just clumped together. I just think that this looks more realistic. Now my daughter got these stamps for Christmas, and as soon as I saw them, I thought I'm going to totally use those on a DIY. I just liked the font. I felt like it had a very farmer's market font to it. So now I'm just stamping on with a ruler so I stay nice and straight. I saw this quote a couple of months back and I thought, I must have flowers always, always. And I love that. I love flowers. If you don't know, I love gardening. I actually planted hundreds of bulbs in my yard this fall so that the springtime over my home channel, you'll see them all coming up. I love gardening. I picked that up from my mom. Not only is my mom a crafter, but she's also a gardener. So you can see here, I'm just roughing it up, scrunching it, crinkling it so it's got that farmer's market vibe to it. And now I'm going to just distress it a little bit. You can skip this whole sign if it's not for you, but I really did love the extra texture it added to it and added some more personality. And I just, again, love the quote, I must have flowers always, always. So once you've got that glued on into the place that you like, this is the finished look. You can hang it up in a mudroom, by the front door, on your front door. So many options and places to put it. I went online to Amazon and I found this pack of 100 round wooden clothespins. I love home decor that is out of the box thinking, and it just looks so cute on a decor shelf or placed in certain areas around your home. And I'm going to be using 7 of them, but you really could cluster together as many as you would like. Now, my inspiration came from a boutique. I saw these in a boutique and they charged so much for them, which Again, friends, this is the easiest DIY, and you get this really rustic farmhouse chic look for pennies. So I'm going to just hot glue them into place, the 7 of them, and then I'm going to take some twine, wrap it around about 4 or 5 times until I get the thickness I want, and then I'm going to go ahead and just simply tie a knot. Now, you could stain these, but I'm going to be doing a whitewash on mine. I decided that I liked that look more than staining them darker. I use a lot more white in my home, so I'm going to just take my paintbrush and very ever so lightly just tap little bits of white paint around the twine, and then I'm going to come on and very lightly add on some white paint at the ends, the tops, things where paint would naturally get on them, or just if your hands were kind of dirty or whatever over time, that it would just kind of pick up that on that surface. And if I had too much of it, I went ahead and came back in with my sanding block and I just sanded off the extra from it. Now the cool thing about these is that you can place them in a bowl, you can put them in a large mason jar. It really just adds the coolest home decor look to a shelf, to a table, and it's so beautiful and easy to recreate. For this project, we're going to be using odds and end items from the Dollar Tree. A trash can, an oven cover, a plastic champagne flute glass, a little serving bowl, and then also this ring card holder. You can get this in their wedding section, and then a lid for a mason jar. We're going to bring all of these together to create a beautiful cloche wire decor piece. So I'm going to be using E6000 and hot glue on all of the things that I'm bringing together, because that creates the greatest hold for long-term and short-term while the E6000 is drying. Once I have the bowl and the champagne cup on the bottom of that tray that you can use to cover up your oven burners, then we're going to go ahead and move on to the top. I'm going to put on that card placeholder onto the mason jar lid and then add that onto the trash can. Now we want to make sure it really locks in well, so I'm going to come inside the trash can and also add some more hot glue. Once everything was glued together, I simply took it outside and spray painted it a light gray, which made it so pretty. It is such a fun thing to be able to use for decor, and you can style it however you want for this upcoming spring and other holidays because it's such a neutral color. My inspiration for this DIY came from Antique Farmhouse. Friends, I would never pay $22 for that. So I went online to Amazon and I found these seed trays. There are 10 in a pack and they come out to be about 90 cents for each one. Then I'm going to take 4 of them because I'm going to do one for each season. I thought that would be kind of cool, so that way I can have these throughout the year. But you can do whatever season you want. And then I'm going to take one of these foam squares from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut it down to size so it fits down into each of these. I'm just going to snug them down in there. And I'm going to be working on summer first. I'm going to add in all of my yellow florals, and I'm going to kind of hot glue things into place as I'm happy with the positioning of all of these, and then add in some leaves that were from this plant that I had, this floral stem. Once I had those all in place and I liked the way that they looked, I went ahead and got some of the moss that they have at the Dollar Tree. They have a couple different versions. They have green. They have one that's more thick and dense in texture, which is this one. And then they have a lighter, wispier one that kind of looks more like a bird's nest in a way. So on this summer one, I used the thicker, dense one. And then on the other 3, I used the more wispier moss that they have at the Dollar Tree. Now you can see here that I've got spring, summer, fall, and then winter, which I did the berries for Christmas time. And then I'm going to take some of these garden tags and I'm going to paint on different prices. And then on one I thought it would be kind of fun to paint fall. Now this is the real speed of how fast I paint. I often speed up my hand painting so that it doesn't take too long. But I want you all to see that I do the tap and drag method when I'm painting with my paintbrush. So I will make sure I don't have too much on the tip of the brush. I tap it and then I drag it. And as I realize that the paint is starting to lose some of the thickness on the brush, I go ahead and tap it again, and I will tap and drag the new dot of paint that I put on the tip of the paintbrush. And then you're going to see here, this is probably the best example. You're going to see I tap it and pull it because I want to keep my paint consistent throughout my line that I'm doing so it doesn't become too faint on one spot or the other. So now that I've got that one that's done for 5 cents, I'm going to sketch on the word fall for the fall tag. And I love these. I talk about them a lot here. If you've watched other videos, I'm sure you've seen me use these garden tags in several other videos. I just think that they're just so cute, and they really do give it that farmhouse, farmer's market feel to it. So you can put whatever you want on these tags, or you can completely skip them like the inspiration. I decided to add a little something extra. And once you pop those down in there, these are ready to be used all year long, and you did it for so much more affordable. Now I said $3 for mine just because I was taking into account the foam, the moss, and the florals. But if you have things on hand, you can do them even cheaper when you pick up the seed trays. This project is going to be so farmhouse chic when we're done. I cannot wait for you to see the finished look. Take one of these $5 trays from the Dollar Plus section and some of these wooden spools from Hobby Lobby. Take some wood glue. I'm going to put 3 lines, and then I'm going to come back in with some hot glue, which is going to help lock it into place while that wood glue dries and gives it a secure bond to the tray. Then you're going to just pop that right on and do the same thing for each of the spools. This is creating a little lift leg on this tray. Paint the whole thing white, and when it's dry, take some washi tape that's a thinner washi tape and create 3 lines of washi tape on the opposite sides of the tray. Once you've got those on there and they're nice and smooth on, and you're going to want to make sure that you've got them all the way up to the corner, rub your finger across it, pressing down hard to make sure that it's bonding to the wood because you don't want it to lift up. You're going to go ahead and take some white paint and you're going to paint over that. That is going to create a seal so that you don't have any bleeding underneath your tape, because we're creating some pinstripe stripes on this tray that gives it that high-end chic farmhouse look. And you're going to make sure it's really dry now, so use your heat gun, go around it a couple times, and then come in with whatever you want for your color, and then come in with whatever color you want of paint with a smaller brush, going over those washi tape pieces to create your pinstripes. Once you've got them on there and they're really dry, go ahead and remove the washi tape and it'll reveal your pinstripes. Now, if by some crazy chance you accidentally went over your washi tape like I did right there, what a pro, right, Heidi? Come on. Just take some white paint and go back over it and touch it up. Now, once we have got those spots all touched up, we're going to get some light gray and dry brush your tray. Once you've gone over with that, I went over as well with a very light brown, and now I'm going to come in with a stencil that I picked up on Amazon. You're going to cut it down to size, tape it down with some painter's tape, and then using a stencil brush, you're going to tap, tap, tap. My arm actually started getting tired with this one because the stencil is so big. So you don't want to have too much paint on your paintbrush, and you just want to just keep tapping. You're going to see I'm going to go in my paint, tap down some, and then come back over and keep tapping until I've got a nice coverage. Then go ahead and pull off your stencil. Use the heat gun to make sure it's nice and dry because we're going to distress this some next. You could leave it looking really crisp, but we're going for that farmhouse chic look where it's a little bit beaten up, not too much. I like things just lightly distressed. So take some sandpaper, rub it around until you get the desired look that you want. Come back in with some more paint if you want to distress it more. It's up to you. And in the end, oh, this tray is so beautiful. It really is so funny how trends come and go, and I know so many people are saying that farmhouse, antique farmhouse, is out. Friends, I still love it, and if you do, I hope you enjoyed this video today, that you felt inspired to try some of these crafts and to just be creative in your own craft spaces. Thank you so much for stopping in. Leave a comment down below to let me know that if you still love antique farmhouse. I'm just curious. And until the next episode, bye friends.